Okay, welcome everyone. Wonderful to have you here. It is Thursday, June 10th, and we are here to talk about a new report by Dr. Robert Polan about jobs creation in California under the state's climate policies. And an exciting group of labor unions 19 unions has come together to endorse this report and discuss the findings with members of the media here today. So really want to welcome you to our press call. We're going to get started in just a moment. While we are waiting and people are filtering in, I'd like to invite you to check out our website, which is CaliforniaClimateJobsPlan.com. I'll put that in the chat here in a moment. CaliforniaClimateJobsPlan.com. You can download the full report. At that link, you can also download some shorter, more bite-sized fact sheets of some of the findings. You can see the names of the 19 labor unions from across California who have endorsed this report and support the findings and get more information. We're excited to share that Sammy Roth at the Los Angeles Times profiled this report this morning in his newsletter, Boiling Point, and in the paper. And we're going to be talking about the report itself, but also what's next and looking forward. Where do we go from here? So we're excited to share that with you. We have a great lineup of speakers this morning. We'll be starting with opening remarks from Kim Moore of United Domestic Workers, followed by Dr. Polan, the lead author of the report. Then we'll have Maribel Castillo from SEIU 721, followed by Kelly Mayhew, who is the chair in the California Federation of Teachers Climate Justice and Labor Committee. Norman Rogers will follow Kelly. Norman is a VP at United Steelworkers Local 675 and works at the Marathon Refinery in LA County. Dave Campbell will follow Norman Rogers and talk about advocacy in terms of budget appropriations for an equitable transition for fossil fuel workers. And Dave will be followed by Liz Ortega Toro of the Alameda Labor Council. And finally, we'll have Blanchard Pinto, who is a member of United Steelworkers who works in the clean energy manufacturing at the Proterra Zero Emissions bus facility in LA County. Assemblymember Cara will then provide some remarks. He's the chairman of the Labor Committee in the California Assembly, and Kim Moore will close us out. So our goal is to provide some time later in the hour for some question and answer. You can use the question and answer chat box in the webinar function, and I will be routing your questions to the appropriate speakers later in the hour. So with that, we're going to kick it off with Kim Moore. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doyle, and good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Kim Moore. I am on staff at United Domestic Workers, AFSCME Local 3930. UDW is a union for home care workers by home care workers, and we are very proud to stand together with 19 California labor unions today to announce these important findings by Dr. Robert Polan. The good news is that California's climate goals have already put our state on a path to create 1 million good jobs. These are jobs in education, public health, public planning, engineering, environmental restoration, the public sector, and of course, we're looking at the gold rush of jobs in electrification, clean energy, and retrofitting every building in our state. 19 California labor unions have endorsed this report because we're ready to make sure these new jobs are good jobs with wages that support our families, guarantee healthcare, good pensions, and access to all the benefits of a union membership. I've been a grassroots organizer for 16 years in my community of San Diego, and I know firsthand what environmental racism looks like. As a Black woman, I cannot ignore the fact that lifespans are shortened, lives are lost, Black lives are ended because of the fossil fuel air pollution that forces us to stay inside or rely on an inhaler or nebulizer just to breathe. Fossil fuel pollution causes maternal health complications, birth defects, and childhood asthma. The risks of heart disease, cancer, and stroke are all higher for people in communities of color. This isn't abstract for us. Mothers are losing pregnancies, babies are suffering, elders are getting sick. This environmental racism must end. We don't have to make the false choice between breathable air and good jobs and a living wage. This plan shows us how to invest so that our families can thrive. With 1.5 million Californians unemployed as of March, we need this good news today. California can create about 1 million good jobs and meet our climate commitments if we invest in this recovery now. We've got each other's backs and we're not going to be derailed or distracted by a handful of corporate billionaires or the CEOs of oil corporations who want to stop our shared progress for their own selfish gain. Clean energy is the cornerstone of COVID recovery in California. And with the combination of federal recovery investments, state and private funds, the world's 5th largest economy can and will jumpstart a massive job creation plan that builds the Golden State back better. With the leadership of the labor movement here today, no one is going to be left behind in California. This report is a roadmap for clean air and good jobs. California's working families deserve nothing less. It's time to invest in California's thriving future. And with that, I will pass it over to Dr. Robert Polan.
Hi, thank you very much, Kim. I first want to acknowledge my co-authors in this study, Jeanette Wicks-Lim, Shovik Chakraborty, Caitlin Klein, and Gregor Semenuk. Our study presents a recovery program for California that will build a durable foundation for an economically robust and sustainable long-term growth trajectory. As you all know, California has long been a leader, a global leader, in implementing robust climate stabilization policies. This includes the executive order in 2018 that committed the state to cut CO2 emissions by 50% as of 2030, to become carbon neutral no later than 2045, and to produce net negative emissions thereafter. Our study shows how you can get there. That's the point. The first step, of course, is to phase out the consumption of oil, coal, and natural gas to produce energy. Burning fossil fuels to produce energy is by far the primary source of CO2 emissions, and thereby the greatest factor causing climate change. Our project focuses on building a clean energy infrastructure to replace the existing fossil fuel infrastructure. This requires large-scale investments in energy efficiency and clean renewable energy, primarily solar and wind power. We show how this climate stabilization will also serve as a major engine of job creation and well-being throughout the state. Okay, what we have scaled from our model is it will cost a little bit less than about $80 billion per year on average to build out the clean energy infrastructure in order to meet the state's energy needs, assuming that the state's economy is going to continue to grow. And this is going to generate, these investments we estimate will generate about 420,000 jobs across the board, as Kim was just talking about. Now, our study then goes on and looks at complementary investments to upgrade in manufacturing, including clean energy manufacturing, infrastructure, land restoration, and agriculture. So we are talking about restoring agriculture, create opportunities there to connect with the clean energy investment program. This we budget at about $62 billion a year and will generate about 620,000 jobs throughout the state, again, across the board. Bring it all together, we have a program that's going to cost about $140 billion per year, which is about a little bit less than 4% of the state's GDP on average. And as Judy said, we estimate that that will generate about 1 million jobs per year in California. That's about 5% of the state's existing workforce. So that means if we are at a 7% unemployment rate in California, implementing and sustaining this program will generate a reduction in the unemployment rate from 7% to 2%. You'll be virtually at a full employment economy. Now, there will, of course, be phasing out the fossil fuel industry, and that means job contraction. So a lot of what our study does is concentrate on providing a just transition for the workers and communities that will be affected by the phase out of the state's fossil fuel industry. We estimate there's about 112,000 workers in the state in anything to do with fossil fuels, directly in oil and gas and indirectly in related industries. However, when we spread out the phase out over this 20-year period or 30-year period to 2045, focusing on the period of through 2030, we're looking at about 3,200 jobs lost per year, displaced, while about 2,500 people we estimate would voluntarily retire. So we target those 3,200 people, and we have to have a robust, generous transition program for each and every one of them. That means guaranteed pensions, guaranteed reemployment with healthcare, guaranteed wage levels that they don't suffer wage losses, and as needed, retraining and relocation. The cost of this for the 3,200 people is about $500 million per year. That sounds like a lot of money, but it's also 0.02% of the state's GDP. We also focus on 3 counties in California, Kern, Contra Costa, and LA, where about 50% of all the people who are working in anything to do with fossil fuels are employed. In particular, Kern. Kern is most fossil fuel dependent, so we have focused on providing a disproportionate share of new investments in clean energy in Kern. In fact, such investments are already taking place in Kern. Our program would advance the Kern redevelopment into a clean energy hub, which is the idea that is already there. Finally, how do we pay for this whole thing? So we're talking about roughly $140 billion per year. We estimate about half would be public spending, half private spending. If anything like the federal program that Biden is talking about, the American Jobs Program, is enacted, and something will get enacted, that will cover 30 to 40 billion of the 70 billion in public spending. The other 30 or so can easily be financed by the California government. California can borrow at 2% a year right now. That would mean that you're spending less than 1/100th of 1% of the state's GDP on financing this project. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Maribel Castillo.
Thank you, Dr. Polan, for the introduction and for the great work on this report. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maribel Castillo. I am a mother of 4, member of SAIU 721, and for the last 18 years, a public health nurse for the Los Angeles County. Since 2016, I have witnessed up close the increase of public health impacts related to climate change and air pollution. Public health nurses are disaster service workers and are deployed during major public health emergencies. When the worst natural gas leak in US history took place in Porter Ranch, here in LA County, public health nurses were there to listen to the affected residents, provide resources, and learn about their symptoms linked to pollution from fossil fuel. Some of their symptoms included headaches, nasal congestion, sore throats, respiratory complaints, nausea, dizziness, skin rashes, and nosebleeds. Many medical studies conclude that air pollution increases the risk of severe COVID symptoms, cancer, stroke, and heart disease. While dialoguing about climate change with SEIU members who lived in or near cities with increased environmental burdens, they had their own insights. They connected some of their own health experiences, like having multiple miscarriages and other health issues they or their family faced, to possible air pollution. Not surprisingly, these health risks are not evenly shared. It is our communities of color, Black, Latino, or working class families and neighbors who are most at risk. who pay the price of pollution with their lives and die at disproportionate rates from causes linked to pollution and climate change. As working class Californians, we must stand together while building a better and healthier future. That's why I am here today with the backing of my union to support this pathway. California climate goals place Los Angeles County on a path to cleaner air. That is good news. As we recover from the pandemic and move forward together, now is a time to guarantee that these new jobs uplift workers and their families, provide union scale wages, benefits, good healthcare, pensions, opportunities for children to thrive, good retirement, and a fair shot at the California dream, along with the many other rights that come with our union membership. Dr. Polan's plan is based on the Thrive Agenda, which SEIU International endorses. Thrive is a bold plan for economic renewal for America, and SEIU members across the nations know that the time for these public investments is now. No matter what neighborhood we live in, what language we speak, the color of our skin, or the pronouns we use, these opportunities belong to all of us. SEIU California endorses Dr. Polan's report. Many of my SEIU siblings across the state, including public health nurses, city planners, janitors who maintain energy efficiency buildings, and many more, are the present and future of California climate jobs. Let's invest in California's prosperity, 1 million new family wage jobs, an equitable transition, healthy air, and thriving communities. Thank you. So now I will be speaking in Spanish for our brothers and sisters who are interested in learning about this. Buenos días, mi nombre es Maribel Castillo. Soy enfermera de salud pública para el Condado de Los Ángeles y miembro del sindicato SEIU 721. Desde el 2016 he sido testiga del aumento de los impactos a la salud pública que son relacionadas hacia el cambio del medio ambiente y contaminación del aire. Enfermeras de salud pública son desplegadas para asistir en algunas emergencias que afectan la salud pública. La peor fuga de gas natural en la historia de Estados Unidos ocurrió en Porter Ranch, aquí en el condado de Los Ángeles. Enfermeras y enfermeros de salud pública estaban allí para escuchar a los residentes afectados, brindarles recursos y tomar datos sobre síntomas relacionados con la contaminación por combustibles fósiles. Los síntomas incluyeron dolores de cabeza, congestión nasal, dolor de garganta, problemas respiratorios, náusea, mareos, ronchas de la piel y sangrados de nariz. Estudios médicos han concluido que contaminación del aire aumenta riesgos de condiciones como COVID, cáncer, enfermedades cardíacas y derrames cerebrales. Algunos de nuestros miembros en mi sindicato han compartido que han vivido en o cerca de ciudades con cargas ambientales y han realizado que algunas de sus condiciones médicas pudieron haber sido empeorado por causa de contaminación del aire. No es sorprendente que estos riesgos de salud no son compartidos de manera uniforme. Son nuestras comunidades de color, familias y vecinos negros, latinos, pobres y de clase trabajadora los que están en mayor riesgo, quienes pagan el precio de contaminación con sus vidas y mueren a un número desproporcionado. Ahora en California tiene la oportunidad de construir un futuro mejor y más saludable. Es importante que estemos unidos. Es por eso que estoy aquí hoy, con el respaldo de mi sindicato para apoyar este camino. Los objetivos del medio ambiente de California colocan al condado de Los Ángeles en el camino hacia un aire más limpio. Esas son las buenas noticias. Mientras nos recuperamos de la pandemia y avanzamos juntos, ahora es el momento de garantizar que los nuevos trabajos mejoren las vidas de trabajadores y sus familias, tengan salarios a escala sindical, buena aseguranza médica, pensiones, oportunidades para que niños prosperen, buena jubilación y una oportunidad justa hacia el sueño de California. junto con los muchos otros derechos de ser miembro de un sindicato. El plan de Dr. Polan se basa en la agenda Thrive, que SEIU Internacional respalda. Thrive es un plan audaz para renovación económica de Estados Unidos, y miembros de este sindicato saben que ahora es el momento de realizar estas inversiones públicas. No importa qué vecindad vivimos, qué idioma hablamos, el color de nuestra piel o los pronombres que usamos. Estas oportunidades nos pertenecen a todos. SEIU California respalda el artículo del Dr. Polan y miembros en todo el estado, incluyendo enfermeras de salud pública, planificadores urbanos, consejeros u otros más, somos el presente y el futuro de los trabajos que mejoran el medio ambiente de California. Hay que invertir en la prosperidad de California. 1 millón de trabajadores nuevos con buenos salarios, una transición justa, aire y comunidades saludables. Muchísimas gracias. Y ahora now I'm going to pass it over to Kim. Thank you. To Kelly, I'm sorry.
Great. Thank you, Maribel. Good morning. I'm Dr. Kelly Mayhew. I'm a professor of English, humanities. Oh, I don't know if I was unmuted. So to restart. Good morning. I'm Dr. Kelly Mayhew. I'm a professor of English, humanities, and gender studies at San Diego City College. I'm chair of the California Federation of Teachers Labor and Climate Justice Education Committee, and I'm a proud executive board member of the American Federation of Teachers Local 1931 here in San Diego. I've had the privilege of educating Southern California's young people in community college classrooms for nearly 25 years. Over that time, I've seen the ways that what matters most to our next generation has changed. Concerns about environmental racism, pollution, rising oceans, climate-driven wildfires have come to the forefront for my students, who will be living with the consequences of climate change for years to come. But the good news is that they also see the solutions and the opportunities to move beyond the crisis we currently face and towards a better, healthier future. They remain optimistic, and many of them see the chance to build careers in California's future energy economy. And that's why I'm here today, supporting the findings of this report, which clearly shows that this is not only possible, but already happening. California's climate goals have put us on a path to create 1 million new jobs. And educators like me will play a role in making sure California job seekers are ready to succeed. California will need teachers, particularly at trade schools and community colleges, to prepare 1 million Californians for careers in nursing, public health, public planning, engineering, and of course, we're looking at a gold rush of jobs in electrification, clean energy, and retrofitting every building in our state. These are high-skill jobs. They're union jobs. With the leadership of the labor movement here today, nobody is going to be left behind in California. In the next 9 years, we will be all in for California's working families. Great pay, quality healthcare, and a future for our kids that we can count on. It's time to invest so we can thrive, to make sure that every Californian of every color, neighborhood, or circumstance has a fair shot at this golden opportunity for our state. That's why the California Federation of Teachers has endorsed Dr. Polan's report. Our public higher education system will be vital for the future, and CFT educators will play a role in the success of California's climate jobs plan. We're here to say not only can we create 1 million new climate jobs in California, we're already on our way to getting it done. It's time to invest in creating California's thriving future. As a union member, I understand that the road to addressing the climate crisis has to put the economic needs of workers at its center. Additionally, as an educator, I believe that my interests are inextricably bound to the interests of the students I teach and the communities I serve. We educators have placed our bets on the future, and we simply cannot fail to address the looming climate catastrophe if we want a just and sustainable world for young people like my own teenage son and the folks I teach every day. Thank you for listening. I'll pass it now to Norman Rogers.
Good morning, and thank you, Kelly. I'm Norman Rogers, Vice President of Local 675, and I work at the Marathon Carson Refinery in Los Angeles. While I've been there for 22 years, I've been a proud union member for close to 40. As a meter reader, I was in the IBEW. Prior to that, I was a Teamster, and before that, an operating engineer. I've been a staunch union supporter because union representation has meant higher wages, better benefits, better working conditions, and overall, a better life for workers in the communities they support. To join together in a union is a freedom, a fundamental right, which must be protected and extended to all California workers and across the nation. And that's why I'm here today. As our economy changes, working class Californians need a voice and a seat at the table. We must not bury our heads in the sand waiting for pink slips to come. We've got to be proactive and fight to make sure the climate jobs coming will be quality union jobs that can support families and guarantee good wages, healthcare, and pensions, so every one of us who works so hard can afford to retire. Working in a refinery, it's hard not to see the writing on the wall with the Prius, the Tesla, the Hummer, and now the Ford F-150 Lightning coming onto the market as an electric vehicle. In California, every car sold after 2035 is to be an electric vehicle. We may have a decade to pivot into this, maybe less, but as labor leaders, we have the responsibility of looking out for our membership. I want to make sure there's a plan to take care of those workers nearing retirement, those in mid-career, and those just starting out. And the good news is there are about 1 million new jobs that lay ahead as we make this transition. But for all that promise, the transition has to be well thought out. It has to be fair, and it must be equitable. We've seen before what happens when whole industries go away. Companies maneuver behind our backs, squeeze every last drop of work out of a dying auto plant or steel mill, and then shutter it overnight, stiffing workers out of jobs, pensions, healthcare, and devastating our communities. We have to do better than that for our California workers. With this plan, California can provide a way forward towards the jobs of the future, leave no one behind, and get every working family on a path to the shared prosperity of a thriving California. The best thing we can do, the thing that we must do for oil and gas workers and our families, is to wake up and fight for a strong, fully funded disaster relief plan that takes care of every single worker who loses their job. This study provides the details of that plan and shows it costs less for the same benefits if we plan for a steady transition. It's a good plan and a solid path for workers who are going to be displaced in the next 10 years, including wage, rehire, pension guarantees, and the costs of retraining. That's why the United Steelworkers Local 675 and Local 5 have endorsed Dr. Polan's report, and I am here to emphasize my support behind every effort to fully fund this plan. Now is the time for an equitable transition. And now I pass it along to Dave Campbell.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. I had a little difficulty there. My name is David Campbell, and I'm the Secretary Treasurer of Steelworkers Local 675. In Norman is also with our local, as is later in the program, Blanchard Pinto is the unit chair and delegate from Proterra. So what, and I should mention that that 675 not only represents the those two companies, Marathon, Carson, and Proterra, but we represent most of the oil workers in Los Angeles County, whether they be refinery workers or oil production workers, and we are the largest oil local in California. What does our union do? We fight for workers to have a voice on the job. We've been very successful in our industry in fighting for a good family supporting wage and excellent benefits. We seek secure retirements for our members, and we seek secure futures for them and their families. We were a co-sponsor of this report because we wanted to have some idea what the future held in California for our industry, so that we could face that future head on and plan for it. So in my discussions with members, I think we can all see that there's a train coming down the track, and we're standing on that track. We can argue about why the train is coming. We can argue about when the train will be here. But the bottom line is we need to decide whether we're going to continue to stand on that track when the train arrives and hits us, or whether we get up on that platform and try to get on that train to ride to the next station. It's not that complicated. So we're now in the process of contacting elected officials to provide them with this plan that Dr. Polan has provided, a very specific, doable plan, and that's the equitable transition. We're planning to submit that in budget proposals to the governor's office. The equitable transition for us includes pension guarantees, because these companies with stranded assets are liable to go bankrupt. We need a glide path for our people who are close to retirement. We need family wage guarantees for our other members. And we need some sort of education retraining program, as well as possible relocation expense. Most importantly, we need to uphold in California the right for workers to organize. In fact, throughout the nation. Now, our ask of the governor's office is that this plan be fully funded this budget cycle now. The oil industry was really boomed and was significantly born when Henry Ford invented the assembly line and the mass production of automobiles. Up to that point, Teamsters were actually drivers of horses and mules pulling carts. When the auto industry boomed, caused the oil industry to boom, those hundreds of thousands of Teamsters who worked with horses and mules were then redundant, and the Teamsters Union had to transform to the new technology. That phenomenon is happening to us today. And we need to look ahead. California can do this right. California can provide an opportunity for all of us. Thank you. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Liz Ortega-Toro from the Alameda Central Labor Council. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Ortega-Toro, and I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda Labor Council, representing 135 unions, 135,000 workers, including nurses, bus drivers, teachers, construction workers, janitors, and more. And I'm here to announce that our Labor Council is fully supporting of this report done by Dr. Polan, and celebrate his findings that California climate goals can create 1 million good jobs across the state. We're here today because a transition is coming, and California's labor movement must be at the table in a leadership role to ensure that every single worker is taken care of in this transition. In the past, Not all clean energy jobs have been unionized, and currently, an example of that is here in Alameda County, where we have a Tesla factory in our backyard. Tesla's owner, Elon Musk, who is worth a staggering $100 billion, has been aggressively anti-union and even threatened to leave our state because of our commitment to protecting workers from the coronavirus. We're not going to allow billionaires like Musk to divide working people for their own profit or political gain. We're here to signal our commitment to protecting, defending, and expanding the right to organize so that every Californian has the freedom to join a union and protect our planet. As labor leaders, we're here to make sure that these new jobs that clean energy revolution will bring are good union jobs. We would like to see that everyone be given a right to organize while we're in this transition. We must see competitive rates of pay, healthcare packages, and pension benefits, and safe working conditions, which is not what we currently have in one of the leading climate change manufacturers in the state of California, which is Tesla. It was important for us at the Alameda Labor Council to endorse this report because we believe in climate justice. Living through California's wildfires and droughts, it is clear to all of us that something has to be done to keep our planet livable. The day the sky turned orange last year here in the Bay Area was a huge wake-up call, not just for me, but for all of us, that this crisis isn't in the future, it is here today. I am proud to be part of this effort to spotlight the solutions. After the year we've had, we all need some good news. California's climate goals have put us on a path to create millions of good union jobs. All we need to do is make the investments to ensure these family wage jobs with good benefits are here in California, and everyone has a fair shot at them and a thriving future. Thank you so much, and I'll pass it on to Blanchard Pinto.
Thank you very much. How's everyone doing? Good morning. My name is Blanchard Pinto, and I'm a member of United Steelworkers 675. I worked at Proterra building electric buses for California, here in California. I'm here today because I know firsthand what it looks like to create jobs that can ensure quality care for all families, reliable transportation, healthier air to breathe, and a better quality life for all Californians. I joined Proterra in 2010. I've been here since first electric buses rolled off their lines. I came to California in 2017 to be a part of starting the second Proterra plant in Los Angeles, bring along my family and our 5 children to live out the California dreams. So far, it's been awesome. I'm so proud that my kids are so interested in electric buses that I built. They see the electric vehicles like Hummers, Teslas, and they know their dad is working on something for the future. They are proud that our family is part of this shift, make cleaner air, make our neighborhoods quieter, to bring our planet back to balance. We are the groundbreaking in this industry now. This is the beginning. At first, Proterra was not a union shop. And initially I had some reservations about joining the union. I had never worked in the union. But I knew from studying history that there were lots of benefits. And so I was willing to try it. I talked with my union rep, Gary, and saw benefits for health, safety, working conditions. I ended up helping lead the union drive and encouraging my co-workers to support the union. Now we've got a good contract. We're working on making it better. And I'm one of the stewards. I really enjoy helping my fellow co-workers with different issues that might come up. The way I see it, improving standards is good for the company and for the worker. And as a father of 5, Proterra is a great place to work. They're a family-oriented company, and the union pushes the same values. In terms of health, safety issues, we have really good dialogues going between the union and management. We're meeting weekly to talk about the issues and find solutions. I'm here today to tell you that this vision of 1 million new climate jobs, union jobs, is not only possible, but it's already happening. Proterra is hiring right now for union jobs in clean energy manufacturing. It is time to invest and take this scale and guarantee that 1 million new jobs are good union jobs that will build a strong middle class and provide good life for our families. Great wages, benefit, healthcare, pensions, opportunities for our kids, descendant retirement, and fair shot at a California dream. It is time to invest in California to thrive in the future. Thank you. I would now like to pass over to Assemblymember Cara.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Blanchard, for that great testimonial. And it's wonderful to be here with everyone. And it's great to see Dr. Polan, whose research I'm using right now on a single payer bill as well. So I mean, I think his expertise is far and wide. And I think when it comes to the issue that we're here for this morning, it's so incredible to see 19 unions coming together to endorse this report. It's exciting to see on paper what we can accomplish with forward-thinking proposals to address climate change while uplifting workers. It's no secret that the state of California has made ambitious climate commitments, and those come with responsibilities. To achieve climate goals equitably, we need to commit to investing in clean energy, manufacturing, and quality job creation. And we cannot let the billionaire profiteers divide us. Divide the labor movement or divide the labor and environmental justice movement. We must remain united. As the chair of the Assembly Labor and Employment Committee, I am committed to keeping workers at the forefront of the conversation as we look to achieve our state's climate goals. It's great to see the report break down these major new opportunities in green energy sectors and how we can mitigate displacement and guarantee good pay and benefits. Further, it is vital that organized labor has a voice in developing California's roadmap to how and when we transition to clean energy jobs. We need good quality labor jobs. We need good quality trades jobs moving forward in our clean energy justice movement. The world's 5th largest economy is diverse and resilient, just like the people of California. I am confident that as we move forward together, we can create new quality jobs that complement and help us achieve our climate goals. I'm excited to work with our union brothers and sisters and want to work together to ensure all working families benefit from our investments in clean energy. Thank you all to everyone who spoke this morning for your passion and your commitment to a clean energy future for California with good quality jobs. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Kim.
Thank you, Assemblymember Cara. We appreciate you being here. And for everyone who is watching, thank you for hearing our speakers today. At United Domestic Workers, we are proud to endorse this report, and we stand here alongside our union siblings. And we're here together because every working Californian deserves a fair shot at good paying jobs that can provide for the health and well-being of our families, clean air to breathe, and the freedom to join a union that has our backs. Despite the divide and conquer scare tactics of greedy CEOs, billionaires, and the politicians they pay for, we know that Californians don't have to choose between a safe climate and a steady paycheck. That's a false choice. No matter the color of our skin, where our parents were born, what zip code we live in, or how much is in our bank account, with this plan, we can all breathe easier about the path ahead for California and the future we're leaving for our children. We're going to move into some questions now from members of the media. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Doyle to moderate this portion of the call. Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. We have one question in the chat here from Keith Burbank. Dr. Polan, can you answer that one?
Yeah, so thanks very much for the question. How many jobs will be created in the Bay Area, Contra Costa County in particular? We did estimate it for Contra Costa County, Keith. And we assume that Contra Costa County would, because it will be disproportionately hurt, would get a larger share of the overall budget than it would be reflected in their population. So Contra Costa County's share of the population is a little less than 3% of California, but we gave, according to the overall budget, we gave Contra Costa about 4% of the overall investment program, and that generates about 28,000 jobs, so a little bit less than 30,000 jobs through annual expenditure of about $5.5 billion. In case you want to see the gory details, it's on page 118, table 7.4.
Thank you. Our next question is also for you, Dr. Polan. It's about the details of the retirement plans, early retirement, glide path retirement. Could you talk a little bit more about the details and how that plays into the modeling?
Yes, thank you. This is a very important part of the overall study. We spent a lot of time to make sure we got it right as one can get it when you're projecting into the future. So what we did was we looked at the demographic profile of people who are working in the fossil fuel industry in California. And we therefore were able to see who is within the years 55 and older. And so therefore we're assuming between now and 2030, a very high proportion of them will voluntarily retire. We don't assume that everybody is going to retire at 65. It's a voluntary retirement. Once we estimate the number of voluntary retirement, the number of people who would get to be 65 between now and 2030, and then we assume only about 80% of them will voluntarily retire. That's how we got that number, about 2,500 people per year voluntarily retiring in the industry. And that therefore we can get a displacement number, the number of people who are employed in the industry who will not be voluntarily retiring, and because of the contraction, year-to-year contraction, are going to face displacement. And so that's why, as Dave Campbell outlined very well, our proposal goes into detail with respect to pension guarantees, which are absolutely critical. We can't let the companies pay their shareholders big dividends. We can't let the companies do stock buybacks to juice up their stock price and not to fund their pensions. So that has to be an absolute law. As of today, we spend a lot of time on this also. As of today, the pensions in the fossil fuel industry are in reasonably good shape. They have to stay in reasonably good shape. That has to be the law. And so we have the pension guarantee built in, and then on top of that, re-employment for those 3,200 workers per year at jobs that will pay them what they're getting paid now or more, and jobs with health insurance, and retraining as needed. If needed, hopefully not needed, but if needed, relocation support.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Polan. With that, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in from journalists at this time. We will be sending out a full press release this afternoon. And of course, all this information is available at californiaclimatejobsplan.com. If you are interested in speaking with any of the panelists one-on-one, we can certainly also facilitate that. So you can email us at info@californiaclimatejobsplan.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. As you've heard today, this is just the beginning. So this story will continue to unfold over the next 10 years, and we look forward to being in dialogue with you. as it does. So thank you so much to everyone who spoke today, everyone who was part of this tremendous project, and all of the journalists who showed up. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.